morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Hope you're all well. Today I want to use a block. You could have a cushion as a substitute. We're going to sit on it. We're going to squeeze it between our legs. We're going to hold it overhead as well. So whatever it is you choose, something fairly firm. It could be for the holding part, a bit of Tupperware or something, or a book. And then for sitting, a cushion would be a good substitute. So get whatever it is you're needing, and then we're going to come to sitting for a moment. So take a comfortable seat. You could kneel, you could be sitting cross-legged. And yeah, before we go any further, we're just going to have a few moments sort of quietly connecting with the breath, connecting with ourselves. So place the hands palms down on your legs and just notice how you're feeling. This is an important practice in yoga, the act of self-reflection. And it's not, it should not be accompanied by judgment. So yeah, just neutral observation. So perhaps there's a bit of your body that's calling your attention. So being aware of that, maybe a sore shoulder or hip, or it might be that your body's feeling good. It might be a sense of feeling easy. Close your eyes, or you can lower your gaze. And we're going to just connect with the breath. So at this point, we're not trying to shape it or control it. Just breathing in and out through your nose. And we want to encourage a deep breath, but without forcing that. So a deep breath means breathing into the lower ribs. So just see what happens now. Can you sense some movement in the lower ribs? And then we are going to see if we can lengthen the out breath. So it's a deep in breath into these lower ribs and a slow out breath. So and nothing forced. We are shaping the breath a little bit here. There is a little bit of control, but not in a laboured, forced way. It should feel easy. And then you can open your eyes, relax your breath, so let it go back to its just natural state. And we're going to take some sort of very gentle movements, very sort of fluid movements. So we'll do a little side bend. We'll take the left hand to the side. And you can drop your weight a little bit. Going to pin down through the right buttock. pressing back to the floor. And then on an in-breath, bring the hand up over the ear. If your shoulders are quite tight here, keep bending the arm. Breathe into that right side. And then we're going to bring the hand all the way down. Plant that right hand. Feel the left buttock firming down. So then you're anchoring through that left side and lift the left arm. Bring a little bend into the arm. Gentle movement. Go down to the left side. You might find you can move a little bit further away here. Take the hand now, the raised hand, and bring it behind the head. We're just going to explore some movements using the elbow. So lift up a little bit with your elbow and then maybe move it back. Behind you, open the chest, turn a little. And then bring the elbow all the way down towards the knee. You might not go very far. Just try a few more of those movements. Pinning down the right buttock, so you're very much anchored. Be a little bit creative here. The moves. Head is supported, so hopefully that creates a sense of ease around the head, neck, shoulders. We're going to release the hand. We're going to bring ourselves back to upright. And pause for a moment, palms down on the legs. If you need to adjust your seat before we do the other side, then please do that. If you need to either change your seat or recross the legs. So we're taking the right arm away, lifting the left arm, take it behind the head. So we're supporting the head to create a sense of ease. We're going to explore some movement up with the elbow, back, forward. Down. It's not it's more of a fluid movement. Relaxing the face as well, the jaw. And then releasing your hands. We'll come back to the knees, but palms up. So that's more of an open gesture. Palms down is very sort of grounding and stabilizing. Palms up, more open. It's also more open for the shoulders. So subtly it's opening the shoulders a bit more. So just sit for a moment. We're going to feel the imprint of what we just did, sensing the subtle changes in the body, subtle movements of energy, or maybe not so subtle. So we're going to go for a slightly stronger, sort of more fluid movement. We're taking the left leg out to the side, the right leg's bent. So you're going to just slide your left hand down the leg and let yourself be supported. So if you're not easily bringing your arm to the leg, you could have something that you rest your arm onto, because it's nice to have that sense of being supported, and then you can relax a bit more deeply. flex the toes of the left leg. You could wiggle the foot a little bit. You can point the toes away, so just sort of exploring movement, range of movement on that side. Pin down through the right buttock, and then slowly, gently, smoothly let the right arm come up, and we're going to let it float around a little bit, exploring the movement. And it's not a sort of rigid, linear thing. We're not trying to, we're not aiming for precise alignment. It's more exploratory. So this is great. This sort of movement, this sort of fluid movement, is great for the fascia, the connective tissue, the stuff that holds us all together. It's something that is often not regarded as being valuable in the body. It's often being seen that the organs, the bones, the muscles are the important thing, and the fascia is more, just like the packaging in an Amazon box that you can throw away. And more there's a recognition that fascia is so important. It needs this particular kind of movement. So fluid, innovative movement, multi-directional movement to keep the fascia healthy. So we're going to sweep the arm in front of the body, plant it down behind you, press down a little bit and see if you can lift your hips. And you can raise the other arm and then come down, and we'll go all the way down to the left side again. Sweep the hand in front of the body, press down, lifting up, press down with the right hand, lift up with the left. One last time. Feel free to sort of innovate here, suggesting some moves that you can make, but great if you can find some of your own. Breathe into that. If you're coming up, make sure you're breathing into the left side. And then all the way down. We'll pause before we go the other way. So just sitting for a moment, palms turn up. And sensing the imprint on the body of what we just did. So any variation from left to right. If there's a dullness on the right and a liveliness on the left. It's interesting to sense. We're going the other way. Take the right arm, right leg out. You can wiggle that foot a little bit. From left to right, you can point the toes. So finding some very sort of loose movements. And then we're going to let the right arm slide down the leg. If you want to support the right arm a bit more, you could even have a bolster if you're feeling a bit stiff. So you've got something to lean into. And then we're letting the left arm come up. So again, this idea that the body, the fascia, needs multi-directional, more innovative movement, not mechanical movement, for it to be healthy. And the reason fascia loses its health is often stress. Stress tightens the fascia, does damage to the fascia. And sedentary life, so sitting, driving, sitting at a desk, long drives, long commutes, modern life, basically, a lot of aspects of modern life call on us to sit and be still. So we're going to sweep that arm all the way behind you, press down, lift up. Reach away with the other hand, breathe into the right side, so feel the breath in these lower right ribs. Down. And once more, coming up. So it's quite a flow of breath. One last time to the right side. Coming up. And then we're going to take a little pause again, but we're taking that in a kneeling position. So, and come so that there's lots of room in front of you on the mat. So relaxing, reconnecting with your breath. Coming into all fours around your back. Engage the abdominal muscles. Feel the sort of rippling in the front body as you press the floor away around your back. Drop the head. Lift your head and shoulders. Sorry, head and chest. And this time we're engaging the back body. Feel those, squeeze those muscles along the spine and the back body. And then back to cat pose. We're going to make it, again, more sort of innovative movement, so you can sway your hips from left to right a little bit. You can find some figures of 8. You can really go quite far, take the heel, bum back to the heels, take the hips forward to the hands. You can do little circles with your ribs, so visualizing or even touching your lower ribs. You can rotate them. It's quite strange, restricting the movement to the ribs, and then go the other way. And then stay on your knees. The bum stays over the knees, and we're coming down. Anahatasana. So you've got options. The arms could be right out in front, or you can bend them, take them out to the side if your shoulders are very tight. Press into your feet. So you're not losing connection through the feet. And then we're going to come up, back onto all fours, tuck your toes under, bum back towards your heels, into downward dog. We're going to lift, bend the right knee, breathe in. Bend the left knee, breathe out. Bend the right knee, breathe in. Bend the left knee, breathe out. Bend the right knee, breathe in. Bend the left knee, breathe out. And then coming down onto all fours again. So this is where it could be handy if you've got a block or something to put between your thighs. It's good to do that now, because then we can really have a sense of the inner thighs. So putting the block not too fat. We don't want something too fat, so that it's over extending the thighs. So you're going to squeeze very firmly, and then you're going to round your back. And relax the grip on the belt, on the block. And then lift your head and chest and squeeze again. And round your back and squeeze. And relax. Lift your head and chest. Squeeze. And relax. Let's do it. A couple of those. A couple more. Put the block down, and we'll take a little movement for strengthening the arms, and for core strength. So we're coming into a sort of plank, shoulders over the wrists. Spread the fingers, and we're going to really push the floor away. So you really feel those abdominals engaging as you do that. And you can even tiny bit round the back, just a tiny bit of like a mini cat stretch. And then take your bum back toward your heels. Keep the arms extended. So it is a version of child pose, but it's not particularly relaxing because you're working to extend your arms. Engage the arms. Tuck your toes under. Come up into downward dog. Bend one knee, breathe in. Bend the other knee, breathe out. Bend one knee, breathe in. Bend the other knee, breathe out. And then we're going to come down so we're back in that plank shape. And round the back again, so feel those abdominals engaging. Push the floor away. And if you want to take a stronger plank, you can lift both knees. If you want just a moderately stronger plank, lift one knee, keep the other knee down, and swap. And then bring your bum back towards your heels, take child pose. We're keeping the arms quite active here, so spreading the fingers, arms straight. Tuck the toes under. Come up into downward dog. Now very smoothly we're walking the feet forward so they come between the hands. Now you might, if you find that you get a bit dizzy in a forward bend, the solution is not to come quite so low, so have the hands up on the top of the thighs. You can kind of press in a little bit to the thighs with the heel of the hand. Have a little bend in the knees as you do that. Reaching forward with your crown, moving back with your tailbone. Get to really lengthen out in this position, in the spine, but without the intensity of having your head dangling down. We're going to come up to standing, so bring a little bend in the knees and then take your arms all the way up overhead. And bring them back to the heart, pausing here. I'm going to do some little squatting movements. So I'm going to come so that I've got space either side of me. So I'm in the middle of the mat. And take the feet a little bit wider, turn the toes out a little. We're dropping into goddess pose. So very, powerful for the legs. If you're comfortable to go wider and lower, then go for it. We really want to make sure that the knees aren't knocking in. We're going to take the hands and bring them to the outside of the thighs, and we're going to press back into the hands with the thighs, outer thighs. So that is going to even you up if your knees are floating in a little bit. It's also just generally really good for strengthening up the leg and the knee. Any vulnerabilities in the knee will be helped by strengthening the thighs. And then we're going to just bring the hands to the inside of the thigh. And you can press back into the thigh. And the thighs can resist that. They can push in a little bit. Back to the outer thigh. And then come up standing. Pausing here. Turn the feet forward again. Bring the hands to rest on the sternum. Reconnect with your breath. We're going to do a little balancing sequence that also involves squats. So if you feel like you're going to need a chair, get a chair, because it's helpful sometimes to have a chair. And the chair is going to come to the right end of the mat. So we're turning to the right. So turn the toes all the way to the right. We're going to lift the back heel. We're going to bend the right knee. We're going to do a little dip down with the back knee, a little or a lot. And then we're going to step into a balance. This is where, if you have the chair, it's nice maybe to have that extra support. You put your hands onto the chair. We're going to step up. So you don't have to come up high, but you could if you wanted to, if you feel like you want to challenge yourself. Toes point down. It's a form of Virabhadrasana, warrior pose. And then very smoothly, can you bring your foot in so it comes in front, so the back foot comes forward, we're crossing the leg over the front leg. So left leg over the right, left leg over the right, and left arm under the right if you want to do warrior arms. Sorry, eagle arms. Eagle pose, Garudasana. I'm wobbling now. If you're wobbling, remember you can use the chair. And then we're going to unfold the legs, we're stepping back. Taking warrior one. Both feet flat on the floor, hips pointing to the front of the mat. If you need to adjust the stance a little bit, bring your arms up overhead. Bend the elbows. Pull the elbows back behind you. Stretch your chest forward. Squeeze your elbows together. Round your back a little bit to make space between the shoulder blades. Once again, take your bent arm position, and then we're going to lift the back heel. We're going to swivel on the ball of the feet, turn back to center, hands to heart. Listen to your breath here. We're going to turn to the left. So the toes turn to the left, but we're lifting the back heel. So if you want something a little bit more dynamic, you could slide the foot away. You could straighten up the leg so you feel like you're working the front leg, the back leg. And also you can drop a little deeper into the front knee. Don't let the knee travel forward. And we're just going to bend and straighten the back knee. Stepping forward onto the front leg. So if you're using a chair here, chair would be at the other end of the mat. Just lifting up. It could be a little or a lot. And then very smoothly bring the foot forward, crossing it over the leg. So we've got the right leg over the left. We're going to take the right arm under the left. Garudasana, eagle pose. Dropping down. Breathing. And then unfolding and stepping back. We're taking warrior this time. So front knee bent, back leg straight, and foot flat on the floor. And the hip bones point forward. And adjust your stance if you need to. Feel more solid, stable. Take your arms up overhead. Bend the elbows at shoulder height. Press your forearms, elbows together. Round your back a little. And then press the elbows back behind you. Lifting the heel of the foot, turning all the way back. Hands to the heart. And pausing here. Just listening to your breath again. So we're not trying to shape it at this point, just letting it flow. We're going to come to the front of the mat. So I'm interested in squats at the moment. There's an interesting research around squatting and what it does for the brain. Apparently the movement of the head up and down is really, really beneficial for the brain because it causes a surge of blood, oxygen and glucose to come into the brain. And this is particularly good for the hippocampus, which is responsible for cognition, memory, is the thing that goes into decline as we get older. So squatting, 3 minutes of squatting a couple of times a week is really, really beneficial, and even more so apparently than walking for the brain, for the health of the brain. So squatting and press-ups is another one, and we do these things in yoga. So I thought I'd bring these more into what we're doing today. So bring your feet together, squeeze your knees together. Your hands can come down by your sides. You're going to drop down into a squat. And then, of course, you can moderate this. You can go really low. You can just make it a minimal squat. We don't want the knees going too far forward for the health of your knees. So ideally sort of, not too far beyond the ankles. And a good indication of how well aligned you are for the health of your knees is, can you lift your toes? If your knees are too far forward, you're not going to find that you can lift your toes. So have a go at lifting your toes. And then bring them down. And then we're going to see if we can reach our arms all the way up. So they create a long line from the hips and belly hugs back. Drop your bum down a little bit if you can. And we're very smoothly going to come back to the floor. We're going to slide the right foot back. And this is where we're going to use the block again. So we're coming up into a lunge. Don't let your knee travel beyond your ankle. And we want to feel very stable here. We're going to squeeze the thighs in, the inner thighs. So the inner thighs have this role in stabilising and also good for core strength. We're taking the block, we're going to pick it up. We're not grasping it, we're just pressing it between the hands. So it's not a sort of grip like this, it's a pressing it. So the fingers are extended and we're coming up. So really powering up here, pressing into the back foot, squeezing the thighs inward. Can you feel some tone on the abdomen? You can also squeeze gently your buttocks in and extend through your hands. Now, if there's a lifting up in the shoulders, can you kind of drop the shoulders down? If it's impossible for you to raise your arms without hunching your shoulders, then you'd be better slightly bending the arms so that you can get the shoulders to be more relaxed, because we don't want that sort of tensing action in the shoulders. Keep breathing. We're going to bring the block down, all the way down, rest it on the floor, hands either side of the foot. We're stepping back into a kneeling plank. And we're going to bend the elbows. So it's like a little mini yoga press up. It's called a chaturanga. Bend the elbows. The elbows aren't moving out to the side. They stay hugged into the body. So dropping down a little. The shoulders come, perhaps in line with the elbows, or perhaps not quite that far. And they'll come up. So we'll do that. Let's say do 3 of these. Push you a little bit. Dropping down. Coming up. Dropping down. Coming up. And then bum comes all the way back towards your heels. Really extend through your hands. Tuck your toes under. Take a downward dog. Make time to breathe. Reconnect with your breath. You can bend the right knee, breathe in. Bend the left knee, breathe out. We're going to pick up the right foot, we're stepping forward. So we're coming back into that lunge shape. So take your time to come up. We're going to pick up the block as we come up. So bring the block between your hands. Take your time to come up. Find your inner thighs, give them a little squeeze. Hopefully that's going to help you feel more stable in your foundations. Some tone on the belly, a little gentle squeezing in of the buttocks. Reaching up with your fingers, shoulders relaxed. Remember, you can bend the arms a little if you find that your shoulders just can't drop. And then we're coming down. We're going to step forward with the back foot. We're not coming too low. We're going to take a sort of halfway forward bend here. Elbows, lift your elbows in and press in with the heel of the hand. Crown moves forward. And then bend your knees, taking a little squat. Hands back by your hips. Swing them forward. Utkatasana. Fierce pose. And the fierceness, I think you can feel it in your thighs. Squeeze your thighs, your glutes. Lift your toes and bring them down. And we're going to come all the way down. So we're going to step back with the left foot this time. We'll take that stance again. So picking up the block, come up into your Urdhva Hastasana, upright arms, really squeezing the block, extending through the fingers, squeeze your inner thighs. Breathing. And then slowly coming down. We'll take a little twist here to add some variation. So lifting up with the right hand, pressing down with the left. Both hands back to the floor. You can now step back into a kneeling plank, or if you want a full plank, go for it. We're bending the elbows again. So we're finding our yoga press up, our little yoga press up. So elbows bend, shoulders move forward. So I'll quickly show you from this angle what the elbows are going to do. So it's not a outward movement of the elbows. It's a bend that keeps the elbows very much contained into the body. So we'll do, another 3 of those. Maybe you can go a little lower this time. And straightening up. So it's that up and down movement of the head. So if you want to do more than 3, go for it. And then when you've had enough, come back to child pose. But it's not an entirely restful version of child pose because we're really extending through the hands. Tuck the toes under. Downward dog. We're going to just finish with the left leg. So we're lifting that left leg, stepping it forward, coming into the lunge. Pick up your block. Smooth, slow, coming up. Find your foundation. So press through the back toes. Squeeze the inside thighs together. Press the hips forward. Keep breathing. And then we're going to come all the way down. We're going to take another squat in a moment. So just one last squat. So when you're ready, step the back foot forward, feet together, knees together, thighs squeezed together, hands back by your hips. Belly hugs back. Nice little lengthening in the lower back. And then finally, hands overhead. Lift your toes, bring them down so that you're not scrunching them up, and also that will inhibit your knees from moving too far forward. And then we're going to come all the way down. We will take a complete resting pose. So bring your knees down, come into child pose. Reconnecting with your breath here. So I'm very aware that the shoulders, we hold a lot of tension in the shoulders, and I want to do something that helps give you more awareness of the ideal position of the shoulders and how we can, strengthen the back and realign the shoulders. So we're going to come to lying on our bellies. It's a version of cobra. So come all the way down onto your belly. And the head is staying down. So I'm just going to take my top. So the head is resting. The hands are going to be positioned around your lower ribs. And the elbows, can you set them up so the elbows are above your wrists? And the head is still not doing anything, but the arms are beginning to engage. So we're mostly interested in the shoulders here. So can you first of all pick your shoulders up from the floor? So find a movement that lifts the shoulders away. So for me, I find squeezing my elbows closer together helps. Squeezing the shoulder blades in. And then move your elbows back towards your heels. So the shoulders away from the floor, squeezing the shoulder blades in, and moving back towards your heels. Heads, breasts, down. And then completely relax your hands down. Completely relax your body. So the hands can support the head. You can bring them in front. Support the head. We'll do that again. So slide your hands back towards your lower ribs. Set them up so that the elbows are above the hands, the wrists. Head stays down. Pick your shoulders up so they move away. Move the tops of the shoulders away from the ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades. So we're really beginning to activate the muscles of the upper back here. So a sort of firm sense of squeezing in of those muscles. And then we can begin to engage the lower body. So we focus, very much on the upper body. So squeeze your thighs together, squeeze your glutes, press your pubic bone down, engage the muscles of the lower back and moving that engagement up the back. And then lift the head if you feel comfortable to do that. It might not be much movement upward. Squeezing everything in. Keep breathing. And then flop down, completely relaxing. We'll finish with, you've got the option of just doing that again, or you can interlace your hands. So the head stays down, interlace the hands. You're squeezing the palms together, you're gripping your knuckles and pressing them towards your heels so the shoulders move back. And really squeeze those muscles of the all around the shoulder blade, between the shoulder blades, the rhomboids, and also we're going to engage the thighs, inner thighs, pubic bone presses down, buttocks squeeze in, feel the strength in the back body. There's the posterior chain muscles in the back body, so feel them engaging. And it's a gentle, nurturing, strengthening, like a hug. And then come down, completely flop down. So we're going to finish lying on our sides. You don't have to come up. You probably will want something under your head so that it doesn't flop over to one side. So you're going to rest on your side, head supported. We're taking the top arm over the ear, and we're going to take the bottom arm out at shoulder height. And we're not doing too much at this point. We're just resting that top arm over the ear. You can bend your knees if you need to, if you feel like you're wobbling. Otherwise, it's quite nice to sort of really extend through the feet, so you're almost doing like a side mountain. you can make the feet quite active and squeeze the thighs together, but then you can kind of relax them. You're breathing into the side body. It helps you to touch those lower ribs so you can engage them. Can't think of many better things to do than these little exercises where we deepen the breath, and they're not complicated. They're simple. There's so many complicated techniques that you can use in yoga, in breath work, but actually the simple ones are really, as good as they get, I think. If you want to add in a little more complexity, you can begin to use your ocean breath where you constrict the throat. So you lengthen the breath and you make that sound. It's the sound, as the name suggests, it's the sound of the ocean, the sound of the sea. Opening up the armpit, opening up the side body so you can get these full breaths. And we'll come to that more active stance, so you can extend through the feet, engage the legs, and then really reach away with that top arm. We're going to bring the arm up towards the ceiling, and then we'll relax a little bit, so let the arm go more floaty. Bend the knees a bit so that you're not working the legs, and the arm's going to come back behind us. We're coming into a twist. So yeah, you might need to adjust a little bit, or come up and down a few times. Quite a loose twist. We're not trying too hard. We're just kind of letting the body be very relaxed and heavy. It's going to come out. So we're going to let that arm come up and down. Coming up to sitting, so pressing into the hands to come up to sitting. And then over to the other side. Or you can just turn away. So we're just resting on the side. The hand that we're lying on is out at shoulder height, the other arm over the ear. Let's make this a little bit more active, and then we can relax into it. So you can extend through the feet, and you can lift the arm. Really reach. You can bend the arm, do that because I know it's quite strong. Push into the bottom hand, arm as well. And then let's just relax and soften everything down. So the arm's resting on the side of the ear. The legs are allow them to be heavy on the ground. We're focusing on these side ribs, so we want the breath, those deep breaths that are incredibly good for our immunity, incredibly good for our things like blood pressure for our nervous system. Breathing in and out through the nose. We're going to bring the arm up. Let it be quite sort of floaty. Bend your knees and let the arm come back behind you. So we're taking a twist. And it's quite a loose sort of twist. We're not really trying too hard here. If you find that your shoulder will allow your arm to come back to shoulder height, then just adjust it, bring it lower. Committing the body to rest now. Letting the body wind down, the body and the mind. In a moment, we're going to roll onto our backs for Shavasana. So take a cushion if you need it for your head, or eye cushion, or a blanket if you're feeling cold. It's a little bit grey, cold day today. So you're just going to roll onto your back. Any discomfort in the lower back, maybe keep your legs bent. The palms are going to rest, the back of the palms on the floor, the palms facing up. And you can, even in this pose, before we fully relax into it, you can adjust your shoulders so you can feel that the shoulders dropping back and then away from the ears. You can kind of do a shuffling movement. So there's more space. You can squeeze your shoulder blades together a little bit and then relax them. So you're lifting the chest a little bit, dropping the front of the shoulders back. And then we're going to just extend through the legs. So let your feet flop out to the side. Closing your eyes now. So we are going to allow the body to be completely relaxed and heavy on the floor. So the torso, head and torso heavy. Arms and legs heavy. Nothing to do, nothing to prove here. Tuning into that sense of self, that inner life. Maybe you can sense something still, something unchanging behind the busyness of outer world. Enjoy that sensation. And as you commit the body to rest, as the body becomes heavy on the ground, maybe there's a sense of lightness that comes, a sense of freedom. Sense of floating, weightlessness. Enjoy that. Sense of being at peace. Surrender to that. I'm going to leave you now in your Shavasana. Rest here as long as you need to. Thank you very much for your practice. Namaste.